Well, I guess I'm the different month's lore master now. Seriously, if I could boil the process of making all this stuff into 2 words, I would definitely, without question, pick
Oh, fuck! Scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
It's the spooky season. This time, a couple years back, a new FNAF game was probably released. 500 other horror games were spawned in its place. The market probably performed some more cash grab schemes, and we witnessed the return of a familiar funky face. Like seriously, the fact that this guy can fit into 2 traditional holidays and has lived this long is absolutely incredible. Now, if you're living under the second oldest rock known to mankind and don't know what Halloween is, let me get you down the basics. This is a time where everyone gets up, puts on either their green face paint, their fancy tuxedo, or a blanket sheet if they're feeling lazy, and goes outside being all spoopy. People often compare it to and slot it right next to Christmas and Easter. But what's strange to me is, if you boil down all the similarities between all of them, Halloween seems more similar to, say, something like Pride Month than it is to Christmas or Easter. Take a look at this. While yes, Halloween does have a certain day in the month, it isn't exactly, say, a public holiday, just a day every 9-year-old gets excited for. Also, what is supposed to be an ongoing theme for the holiday just isn't there for Halloween. Going back to Christmas, it doesn't matter if you're an atheist or just a non-Christian in general, I'm sure you'll at least hear about Christmas being the birth of Christ. And that meaning has stuck ever since humanity stopped using the word BC when talking about years because they ran out of numbers to count backwards to. But Halloween just doesn't have that meaning, or does it? They put the Moon Man song in this. Don't make me look dumb, please. Now, before we can talk about what Halloween is now, we have to talk about what it was back then. Because unlike the Pride Month video, this actually has a half-decent backstory that actually spans more than one Google search. No, I'm not recycling the layout of my other video. That's not what it's called, borrowing. Now, I'm not a complete history buff, but I know who is. I know what you're about to ask. How the hell are you gonna bring this guy onto the show? And my response is this. Have you ever heard of kidnapping before? Okay, 1 little bit of blondish horse hair. 2 scrolls of ancient history that no one cares about. The mind of a decently smart human being with a dumb self-conscious.
Isn't that just you?
Shut up! And finally, 1 D&D book.
Summoned me from the depths. What shall you have me do, master?
Here's a pad of paper, here's the internet. It's for Halloween. Study up, nerd.
Do you have a script or something for me?
Hell no, you're on your own. Later.
Fine. Looks like I'll make a script. Just give me a minute.
1 eternity later.
I'm finally done. Okay. Finding this information is difficult. It's a pain. Teal, why did you not give me a script? Okay. The main theory is that Halloween is thought to be main theory is that Halloween is thought to be influenced by the Gaelic/Celtic harvest festivals, Samhain, which I do not know how to pronounce. I'm just assuming it's Samhain. Teal, put the word on the screen. The festival marks the end of the harvest season, which was, of course, when they farmed wheat go bruh. It was also said to be a time when the boundaries between the other world, their like fairy world, and our world weaken, allowing spirits and fairies and sometimes the dead to enter our world. The festivals were there to appease the, again, don't know how to say this word, so don't bug Teal or me about it. The Alsi, a Celtic race of fairies and elves, and the historians believe that some of them were also gods. And they praised these Alsi so that the people and livestock survived the winter. Did you get all that? Well, throw it all out of the window, because the Christians are here! Nah, in all seriousness, no. As Christianity spread into Scotland and Ireland during the 5th century, most of the traditions were swept under the rug. This was because as the Christians went to Scotland and Ireland, they wanted as many people to become Christians. So what they did was that they turned the original Celtic mythology into more of a folk tale. That's why a lot of the King Arthur stories have fairies and stuff. This is the reason. The Christians had also had a day on a similar time period, which was called All Hallows Day, sometimes called All Saints Day, which was on the 1st of November, and the All Souls Day on the 2nd of November. And these were like very traditional Christian days honoring saints and martyrs. Eventually, the Celtic festival was put on this 1st of November and was eventually called All Hallows Eve, which is one of the many names of Halloween. Halloween became mostly what we know of today after the 19th century when the mass Irish and Scottish migration to America. This made Halloween a major holiday in America, and most of the traditions we associate it with today is because of this. Teal, did you have an ending for this segment?
No.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
Now, it's pretty safe to say that not a lot of people are going to be practicing those now. So, just like last time, I sent out a series of surveys that, I'll be honest, were a little vague, to attempt to grasp the modern picture of Halloween. Now, I'm not a Halloween/survey research expert thingy, let alone ask people questions on the regular, but it's just copy-paste, how hard can it be? Control-C, Control-V for the win, baby. First question to start this whole thing off, pretty simple, pretty basic, is Halloween— oh, for fuck. Do you celebrate Halloween? I'm sure this is gonna go No, it didn't. These responses were so unbelievably negative. You wanna hear this? About, I wanna say like 78% of people who took this said no, and that 78 is being generous. Do keep in mind that in this context, celebrating might be different here than to say something like Christmas or maybe even Pride Month. Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about celebrating Halloween? I don't know. Trick-or-treating perhaps, maybe throwing in a party or two for something, I don't know. Now, a smart person probably would have asked people to elaborate on this first question, but I'm dumb, and I like to suffer. Keep in mind, there were some people who said yes, they do celebrate Halloween, and say people who said, well, I wish I did, but as a child, I was never allowed to, parents.
Why, geez, parents, why do you have to be so protective and keep your child safe from danger?
The next question, is Halloween important to you? And I swear, if you thought the last question was unbelievably negative, you are not prepared for this. What me say? Nearly 100% of people said no, it wasn't. There was only one yes in that whole collection, and the elaboration was because horror genre is good. That wasn't even the intended elaboration that I put that question there for. So, what else do you want me to say? People just don't find it important anymore. Question 3 Question 3 asks, do you believe there is more meaning behind it than just the tricks and treats? And believe me when I say this was the mixed bag of answers of the store aisle. Like, you know those Cadbury favorites where they just throw in a bit of everything into a box and slap in favorites, everyone gets their favorite, but every time you open a gosh damn package, there's always a dominant chocolate in there. Always. I'm not talking about that mixed. I'm talking about mixed. Some people said flat out no, absolutely not. Others said, maybe, I don't know. Some people said yes, with no elaboration, because apparently I can read minds now, and I can totally understand your intent and point of putting yes there from just those 3 letters alone. And some people just started making up theories, because why not? Question 4 was, why do you celebrate it? If you do. And a lot of people are on quite the same mindset for this one. They all put down... Some say they celebrate it because their friends celebrate it. Some say they celebrate it just because, they just want candy. But yeah, other than that, people got the same idea. Question 5 asks, why do you think it's important? This is my favorite response. You're gonna read and listen to this. Kids. Free candy. Parents won't have to deal with kids. Yeah, pretty much. Someone else said it can help give life to things in the horror genre, which I love to death. Emphasis on the death, because candy, yes. Other people just say I don't. Someone else said I think it's important to enjoy yourself during this day. May I remind you that not too many questions ago these people didn't sound like children. And yeah, based on what I've seen so far, I'm just gonna assume that it's not really important to anyone. Question 6 is, do you tie it to religious beliefs? The dominant category is back, baby. No again. Yeah, pretty much everyone just said no again. Some do say they believe religion has some sort of significance in it, but they don't elaborate, so sweep it under the rug and move on. One guy just decided to be funny again and put yes with no elaboration. My guy, it's just 3 letters. And now for the fun question. Without research, do you know Halloween's origins? And I'm happy to report that some people have a bit of knowledge about this, unlike last time where it was literally just throwing darts at the wall. People will either say its roots were from ancient times and something about spirits, and other people just didn't even try. I am so glad that you guys just didn't put in yes with no elaboration again. And that was the survey. That was everything I managed to get from it. And if there was one thing to take away from this, basically don't be dumb when writing your own survey. Oh, how naive I was, thinking I could just simply end the video there saying Halloween is dead based off my answers alone. Except I forgot one crucial detail. You see, nearly everyone who took the survey came from a place that wasn't the USA. And you would probably figure this out already if you paid attention, but this event is mainly an USA holiday, which means I have to start back from square one. Luckily for me, I know exactly what to do next.
2,000 years later.
Damn, why these Discord servers always die when I start talking? According to one Google search, many different sources, Halloween is still traditionally celebrated by a lot of Americans. Around 70% of Americans plan to celebrate it in 2022. And despite the information we gathered, that number has been only going up through recent years. And this number's for 18-year-olds alone. So here's my theory on what's going on. Halloween started in America. As it started becoming more entertaining and popular, it started evolving into other countries. But after a certain amount of time, especially in recent years, people eventually started to grow up and got bored of it. Or it just made it illegal, I don't know. We are witnessing the death of Halloween everywhere else. While it may be dying everywhere else, it's starting to raise traction in America once again. Soon Halloween would become so unpopular that it only resides in the one place it started. The death would probably be a lot quicker if it weren't for one factor. This is prime time number 2 for the markets. Easy advertising everywhere. These markets will attempt to hold on to as much of Halloween as possible, and while they're successfully slowing down the death of Halloween, they can't prevent it. Much like America's cardboard breakfast. Like, what the hell is this thing? This isn't even nutritious. Halloween simply may not have a place in the rest of the world like it does America. But that's just my conclusion based on the numbers I got. Remember, it's just a theory. Hold up, speaking of which, I wonder what Google has to say. Google, you motherfucker! As you would have probably found out by now, this video was made in collab with Weatherstorm. Go check out his channel, bully him for not uploading. Damn, this guy has a worse upload schedule than me. If you want to see how I solve Pride Month using these methods, that video is right here. I said video. How stupid do I have? Anyway, anything you want to say, Strom? Strom? Oh, that's right, he's dead. We killed him.